Wealth is defined as my legacy being legendary, hereditary. I know you see me feeding my seeds, killing these weeds with determination, germination, purpose never vacant. I said at elevation, meditation, upward, universal guidance, most high to provide the substance, trying to reside within abundance. Lunches, dinner, and breakfast, the filling of my stomach's essential, easing the hunger pains is the issue. So focus.
Go, go, get it, go, 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 get it, go, 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 get it, go, go, get it, go, go, get it, go, get it, go.
Yo, welcome back. This is episode 15 of Kindness Universe of the Autism. This is Big Boxx.
Lil Boxx.
Welcome back. So just picking up where we left off, we were talking about when we had that initial meeting with the school staff, and Lil Boxx, do you remember that actual meeting? Do you remember that meeting we had with Miss Pooja, Miss Rasby, and Miss Perez? Do you remember that?
I don't think I did.
You think you did? You was in there for a little while. You sure you don't have any memories of that? You was in the 3rd grade.
Yeah, I think.
You think?
Oh, I actually don't remember the meeting, but I did remember that I was involved.
Yeah, you was in there. They gave you a marker, and you was drawing on a board and all that stuff. Yeah, and they were saying how they knew how smart you was, how you would be walking around, moving around, but still paying attention to everything. And you'll make certain comics. So you was making your comics way back then.
Yeah.
So that was basically memorable times as well. All right, and we'll fast forwarding from that. And I just remember that, and like I just mentioned, transitioning into this episode, I don't know where we were coming from, but the night of his diagnosis, I remember we were driving. It was at night, so I don't know where we were coming from, and the kids weren't with us. So if the kids weren't with us, that means somebody was here with them, and we was coming from somewhere, and we were speaking candidly about him, and we had to really come to grips and grasp, like, okay, we know it's something. You see what I'm saying? When we got to that point. You remember that night? I don't know where we were coming from. You were driving and I was on the passenger side. Matter of fact, I know where we were coming from. We were coming from a Christmas party. Because we were coming up Highway 29.
So my parents would have been here.
So your parents had to be here.
Yeah.
So that was when we were talking about the actual diagnosis of accepting it. Because I remember the meeting we had. I remember we had on jackets, and so it was cold when we had the meeting. So that's the only time I could think back then that we would have actually had that conversation back then. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So do you vaguely remember, or have any type of idea in regards to that?
I faintly remember a conversation driving back. I don't really remember all that we talked about specifically in that conversation, but I know in general it was rough. Coming out of that meeting was difficult because what was being communicated was
Like something wrong.
so far from what we knew or felt was true. And to be honest, I felt like, even though there were different ones who were being gracious to us that day, and it was encouraging to see also how much they cared. Different ones around that table, the administration at school, the staff, the teachers, seeing how much they cared for my son was huge, and that was helpful. But at the same time, it was like conflicting emotions because I felt like we were I was caught off guard because a lot of the things that was shared had never been shared before.
Yeah.
We had been told for the most part, from the beginning of school, so since kindergarten, that he was on point.
Yeah, everything was okay.
And all of a sudden, I felt like it was a hit out of nowhere that all of a sudden now you're saying blindsided. Exactly.
Like
that,
something wrong with your
right,
child.
there was something, and that had never been communicated before. And also, the weeks prior to that meeting, I don't know if you remember, they had started pulling him out during that evaluation part.
Yeah.
And he was meeting with people that we had never met before. And so I'm like, okay, hold up. Why is he being separated from the class? Like, and prior to all of that, we didn't know, or me personally, I didn't know anything about ASD at all.
Yeah.
I didn't have any point of reference.
And all the point of references I had was just basically like, something wrong with your child. They're trying to say my child's special. So that was the thing that really was triggering for me, was it was like, you trying to say my child's special.
Right.
And then the things that go along with that from other kids' perspective looking at it, they're gonna always say that. Okay. So do you remember those times when you were going through your initial evaluation and was trying to test you for autism?
You would meet with Miss Rasby.
Miss Rasby.
Remember that? And Miss Pooja.
Miss Pooja. What was your way of thinking? What did you think was going on?
Actually, I had no idea.
So you thought it was just a regular thing, meeting with teachers?
Yeah.
Okay. And moving forward, and that eventually turned into the conversation we had when I told you we'll get back to this, when he finally broke down his hardships of what he was going through in school.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the next progression to that.
Yeah.
And I know you remember that, when you really started letting me and your mom know what we were dealing with at school. All right, so now I told you eventually we'll get back to that. Now to that point, we'll get back to that. What made you not tell us what was going on at school?
I didn't have a thought of telling you guys. So I basically just played it cool.
So why you didn't have a thought? Why you didn't think that was something you needed to tell us?
Actually, I have no idea.
You have no idea? So you didn't think you would think that was important or something you needed to know?
Yes.
Or something you wanted to know? You thought we wasn't that interested in your daily life or something?
Well,
did you trust us?
yes.
I remember at that time he said that he didn't want to worry us.
Okay.
And he knew we already had a lot on our plate.
Okay.
I remember him saying specifically those words.
I know, but I remember during that time is when I used to have to sit him down, when we used to always crack jokes with each other, and he started telling me I was bullying him. Remember? So I remember that was around that time, and I had to sit him down like, I'm not bullying with you. We used to joke all the time, and now all of a sudden, when I joke with you, you think I was bullying you. So that let me know that around that time.
That was during the evaluation period.
Yeah, that was around that time, yeah.
He had started and that was part of our mixed emotion, was he had started meeting with different people at the school, and he started coming home talking. We would ask him, so how was the meeting today, or who pulled you out of class today? And he would tell us what they talked about, and a lot of it sounded like, they were trying to get information, but then some of it was, it almost seemed as though some of the conversation they were trying to gear towards a certain way, and being that he was a child and impressionable, he took some of those conversations to mean something more serious. So that caused him to start looking at life and
yeah.
his family differently.
Yeah.
His communications with everybody differently.
Yeah.
That was when he first got introduced to the idea of or at least vocally,
Yeah.
about being bullied and things like that. And so there was a little bit of a learning period. Yeah.
Basically, it was a tug of war. We'll be finishing that back up, wrapping this episode up. This is episode 15, Big Boxx.
Lil Boxx.
One life, one love, one God. Peace.
Boxx-A-Million.
Boxx-A-Million. Boxx-A-Million.
Mighty Lion of Judah.